welcome back to another Conductor Sunday live stream. I am joined by George, the Disney Italiano from Citrico Central, Tommy from Tommy Toon World, and we have another guest that's going to be joining us in a little bit, Jared from Capture the Magic. Actually, he just texted me, so he's going to be right on. But George, it's always a pleasure having you on the live stream. I watched OG's live stream yesterday where you guys celebrated his 6,000 subscriber accomplishment on YouTube. What a massive celebration. I didn't miss a beat watching that live stream. It was so much fun watching you guys.
Yeah, it was. Thank you, by the way. Yeah, it was great. It was, such a major milestone and achievement, like when you hit a certain number, and it just, you look back and you see how far you've come, especially because in the YouTube world, in content creating or vlogging space, podcasting, it's not easy, it takes work. And, I started noticing that a lot, like when I started my own channel. And but it is very rewarding. It is kind of you get in your own headspace, and it becomes your own personal therapy, so to speak. Which as long as you have fun and you enjoy it, that's when it's all worth it. And honestly, as I said, I thanked him for allowing me into his space, his channel, his community. I mean, I gained so many, friends, you guys included, it just goes to show you, it falls like a domino effect, that how you can meet one person through another. So it was a great time for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And the one and only Jared from Capture the Magic. Always great to see you.
Thanks. Sorry I'm late.
No worries.
I thought the Cali time that my time gets mixed up, and then I saw George's text. I was like, wait, I thought it was 9:15 because last night it was 9:15. So my apologies, I'm late, but great to be
here. You're early. I was late last night. Coming in at 10 minutes.
You did say you had a dinner. It's totally fine. Totally fine.
That's all right. Better late than never.
That's right. I think I'm 3 minutes. Okay, I'm not too late. 3 minutes. So my apologies.
No, you're all good. So Jared, again, it's always great to have you on the live stream. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Well, thank you for inviting me on here. You can find me at Captain Magic everywhere, YouTube, social media, and all that stuff like that. I'm not too active on X because I don't like arguing with strangers more than I have to. So I randomly post stuff there, but not too much. But mostly on YouTube is where you can find most of my stuff.
Absolutely. And hey, I don't blame you for not wanting to argue with strangers on X. You could just go to Walt Disney World or Universal and see your own argument, and you don't even have to be part of it.
I see the arguments that take place online. And I'm just like there's been moments where I go to type and I'm like, I got better things to do in the next 15 minutes of my life than just randomly argue and not change anyone's mind. So,
Absolutely. And the one and only Tommy Toon World, my closest friend in the world, I see in the background there, you got a little Happy Gilmore action. What's that all about?
Yeah, man, I had to represent. Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out, bro. I know you got the Subway cups.
I did. So Subway is promoting Happy Gilmore 2, and I did get the cups, all 4 of them. Because you can only, so what it is, you walk in there, you get a combo, you get a cup, and it's random. So I go in there, I explained, the manager just happened to be there that day. I told her, I said, I'm a content creator. I post stuff online about the theme parks, about entertainment, whatnot. And I tell her, how many cups do you guys have, like different ones? And she's like, oh, well, we have 4 of them. I'm like, would there be any way to buy all 4? She kind of hesitated for a minute. She's like, you know what? I'll sell you all 4. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm doing it. And then as soon as I get home and start eating the sandwich, I'm sitting there watching Hulu and just kind of relaxing and whatnot. And then all of a sudden I see a post online. It's a video clip of Shooter McGavin walking into a Subway, arguing with the Subway employee over are happening to get a Happy Gilmore meal just to get a cup. It's like you can't make
So in order to get, do you have to get the cold cut combo?
You could get any combo.
Man, I can't tell you the last time I went to Subway.
I know.
I just realized that, like, I used to eat it all the time when it was like $5 footlongs and stuff like that. But it's got to be like going on almost a decade.
It's almost like $18 for a foot long.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Right. I
love
remember
Happy
in the
Gilmore,
movie
though.
he had the Subway.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
It was only fitting, man.
Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, to this day, I can
Top
still
two,
watch
for
those
sure.
and laugh and just like unplug. I love those movies.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. I could do the same.
Definitely.
To be honest with you, as long as Happy Gilmore is on Hulu or wherever I can watch it, I at least watch it once a month.
The trifecta for me for the Adam Sandler movies was always Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, and Big Daddy.
And Waterboy. Yeah, Big Daddy's fine.
And Waterboy. Yeah, Waterboy.
Click is a legit like emotional one. Like okay. What's funny with movies is when you see them when you're younger, and then like when you have kids.
Yeah.
Click is one after you have kids where you're like, oh man, like it hits you way different. Same thing with like Interstellar. Like if you have kids, like I remember seeing Interstellar before I had kids and after, and you're like, okay, like I don't cry in movies, and I'm like, I'm gonna hit pause and just, like I have a daughter, like the whole thing. Like sometimes those movies it's funny how they can change as your life changes.
Oh yeah. No, it definitely does that.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see it myself. So it's just it's a catch-22. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do hope Happy Gilmore 2 is good though. I'm not expecting it to be like amazing. It's just fun and like I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Same here. No. As long as it's better than Joe Dirt 2, because that movie was terrible, man.
They did a Joe Dirt. I don't remember Joe Dirt 2. Ooh.
Right, man. They tried to promote some streaming service.
That's how bad it was.
Right. Exactly.
Oh man. I always say Joe Dirt. Just from Dennis Miller and that. Exactly. Don't try and church it up, son. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Dirt for me, I don't know. It took me a couple times to watch it to actually for it to make sense. But
that's the beauty part of that movie. Isn't there like movies out there that they're just so stupid that they're good in their own right? Like they don't.
They get deeper later on. Yeah. Well, see, I'm from the Midwest, so I know a lot of Joe Dirts. Like I've met a lot of Joe Dirts in my life. I'm like, I know that guy. Like he used to work at the fair. I remember that dude.
Oh my god, that's too funny. You know what? Actually, I want to jump to a different story because I want to get your opinion real quick, and this is going to be more pointed towards. No,
we don't want a Joe Dirt 3.
No, definitely not.
Joe Dirt is Happy Gilmore's caddy. That would be a funny one.
Oh my god,
that would be a cool crossover.
Yeah, he has no clue about golf and just giving terrible advice the whole time, and he's just like, okay, whatever.
Oh heck yeah,
yeah.
I'd pay to see that in the theater. Are you kidding me?
Absolutely.
Oh,
they can call the movie Happy Dirt.
Happy Dirt. I love that. Hey, and instead of oh my god, see now I'm acting like Joe Dirt because now I can't even think straight.
I was gonna say that movie would still be better than Superman, so I would I would see that one probably 2 or 3 times before I would Superman again.
Oh, okay.
You didn't like it?
Okay, caveat, I'm a major Superman fan. It's like the comic I grew up reading. I didn't hate it, but I don't have any desire to like see it again. I think Man of Steel, like I watched Man of Steel last night after seeing it, and Man of Steel has its issues too, but I enjoy Man of Steel more. But like the OG Christopher Reeve Superman's still the best one ever. Like
100%.
I mean, I hear you on that one. Did you like Guardians of the Galaxy and that style?
I did, and this is very much Superman meets Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's not Superman. Like it's very James Gunn. Like if you like James Gunn stuff, I think the general public will probably like the Superman movie, but a lot of Superman's characteristics were very Star-Lord, and that's really not who Superman is.
No,
I mean I liked it for what it was because it felt more of like the cartoon Superman, I guess.
It was very. I liked how it was comic booky. Like it had a lot of the like the monsters. Like I like that stuff. It was just some of the way, like, I mean, basically Superman just gets beat up for an hour and a half. It's like, geez, can this guy not just get kicked around? But yeah, it was, like I said, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's definitely not the best Superman I've seen either.
Definitely. So, Jared, I want to start off with this article about the rivers of America. I know it's been probably talked to death all over social media, YouTube, and all that. But have you been back to the Magic Kingdom since they closed this?
I have not. Not since they closed it.
Okay. The question I have for you is literally the day that they were closing it, so it wasn't even closed yet. They had construction crews, obviously you can see in the picture, on one of those little maintenance boats traveling around on the river. Are you surprised by that?
No, they move quick. Like when they decide they're closing something down, like the next day there will just be they'll start dismantling things. Like they already got the riverboat. The rumor there is they're not destroying it, but they're dismantling it, whatever that means. Yeah, I mean, essentially, they'll probably auction it off or something. But no, I'm not surprised. It's kind of disheartening when it's something like, I don't want to see the rivers go away. And you're just, I think in your head, you're just like, well, at least it'll be there. Then you're like, oh, no, it's already, they're going to get rid of it. And the water will probably be gone in like a week, if I were to guess.
So, talking about the Liberty Bell, when they say they're dismantling it, in my point of view, it screams demolishing. That's what it screams to me. The only thing I have, and I posted online, and it was two comments that are two suggestions I made. One of them's kind of like, are you for real? The other one, more than likely. I personally, since Walt had something to do with that, I would have liked to see them maybe transfer the Liberty Bell to the Walt Family Museum somewhere on property. I think they could. I think they could have. Now, the other option was to bring it to Disneyland. Obviously, that's stupid because our rivers isn't that big, and that the Liberty's humongous, just like ours. So I don't know.
I kind of wish it was dry docked somewhere.
Yeah.
You could do it as a display. I mean, I think there's things you could do with it, but it just seems, whether or not this is true or not, it just seems that, and I think we talked about this in an Orange Grove 55 live stream, where it's like they're removing this, acting like they're just replacing a playground. And there's not like that, given the fact that this is an opening day thing, it does have a connection to Walt, and it's just like, we're going to put up an imaginary door to nowhere, and then we're going to get rid of everything behind it and then move along and like not draw a lot of attention to this. But I think it would be really cool to at least maintain aspects of it, Easter eggs, maybe put the bell somewhere in the new land that they're building as, an Easter egg to what was there, sort of thing.
Oh, 100%. Tommy, I know you're kind of out there, on this type of news, but do you think, like Jared was saying, that instead of dismantling it, as they call it, do you think it would be more appropriate to dry dock it, like Jared's saying, or do something where it preserves it, where they're not just, chopping it up and throwing it in the weeds somewhere?
Right. I'm all for preservation. Yeah, I need to hit these Florida parks more often, man. I'm over here at Cali bound. So, yeah, I definitely got to catch up on all the news and everything out there. But, man, like especially what Jared said, dry docking it, that, definitely just still keep the ambiance of it. I like kind of what you said too, Conductor, maybe bring it to the Walt Disney Family Museum. I mean, I don't know if there's two or if you're mentioning just the one up here in the Bay Area where I'm from, but that would be sick if they put that there too, Just bring like some artifacts or some remnants of it, because there's a big field in front.
Oh yeah, they can.
So it's pretty good.
They can easily build a staging area where they can either have it dry docked or it's in water. They got the land for it.
Well, and what would be interesting, you could, I mean, it had to take some work, but you could retrofit it where obviously that thing ran on a rail. You could make it into an actual boat, and then Disney likes to monetize anyway, put it in the Seven Seas Lagoon and or somewhere and sell cruise packages on the Liberty Bell for fire. There's stuff you could do to maintain it and still have it around.
Oh yeah. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I know Florida in a way has a massive footprint. So to add on that, what you're saying, Jared, I would like them to, take it out, and it's almost like a dining package. They retrofit it where it has tables, it has like a little restaurant or like buffet area, and you actually get to dine on the Liberty Bell watching the Walt Disney fireworks and sell that as a package.
Yeah, I have done the one where you rent a boat and you go out there and you watch the fire. You watch Happily Ever After on the water. It is really cool to do that. Like, you could have that boat out there, and like, it kind of reminds me. In Missouri, there's Branson. They have a river boat that you can do the same thing. It kind of looks very similar to the one that's in Disney World. You could do it. I think people would pay. I think there's a good group of people that would eat that up. That would want to go out there all the time.
Oh, 100%. George, I want to get your thoughts, since you disappeared for a second. We were talking about, because Jared was saying that the Liberty Bell, instead of saying demolishing the Liberty Bell, they're saying dismantling it.
Yes.
So basically, it screams to me that they're going to rip it apart, throw in some freaking field with weeds, and let it just rot. And I would hate for that to happen. So we were talking about different ways they can preserve it. They could try to transport it to the Walt Family Museum in San Francisco. They could bring it to Disneyland, which I highly doubt they would do. Or they can keep it in Walt Disney World, retrofit it where they make it kind of like a dining package, and it go. What's the area, Jared, that you said it can go on the waters and then view the Walt Disney fireworks?
I think it's Seven Seas Lagoon.
Okay.
I think that's what that is. Yeah, the main waterway there. Because you can rent a boat, and then you go from, it's docked at Contemporary, then you kind of take a little, they tour you around, and then you end up in front of the Magic Kingdom, and they pipe in the music, and you can see Happily Ever After. Just you'll see like 15, 20 boats sitting out there watching it.
Okay. So that would actually be a great option, in my opinion, because one, you're retrofitting a extinct attraction, well, now extinct attraction, and you're making money off of it. Why would you want to do that? Why would you?
I think for me, despite of like whether or not the river was going to stay with Tom Sawyer Island and they were going to turn it into something else, to just get rid of the riverboat and treat it like an afterthought, I think they should at least do something like preserve it, put it in, somewhere in the Walt Disney Family Museum or the archives or what have you. Or as Jared said, on the Seven Seas Lagoon, you could add another dining kind of experience. Even if it's like a prefix kind of thing where, you get like the dinner with the fireworks, so to speak, or they can kind of take their P's and Q's from Disneyland and they could transport it over to Disney's Hollywood Studios and use it for the finale for Fantasmic rather than have the little Steamboat Willie boat. They could actually utilize the Liberty Bell.
That's a good point.
They could do that. There's all these great options. I don't see, and we're going to talk about with the virtual queue thing option that they're trying to push on us for the Walt show at the Opera House, Jared. It seems like Disney, no matter what it is, they like to either make things difficult or they don't see the whole picture. They're kind of just like this tunnel vision. I don't understand why. If they're all about making money, why not something like that?
I think we talked about it too before. It's like, if the reasons for the changes to like Frontierland, if it is the whole there's been the rumors out there for years that the rivers are actually, they need a lot of updating and they leak and all sorts of things. If that is the issue, just say that's what it is. Like, or sell people. I think that's what's missing on. I feel like if Michael Eisner was a guy like him was in charge, he would have tried to sell people on what the vision is. Like, here's the change we're making, here's why we're doing it, and why this is going to be better. Versus now, it's like you announce like this new thing at D23, then the next day you're like, by the way, it's replacing the Rivers of America. And then they didn't want to announce it on stage because people get mad. And instead of trying to, sell your message, it's more or less like, we're going to announce it, then kind of hide away and subtly take this away and just don't want to make too much noise about it. It just comes across as, I guess, like not confident in what you're doing in a way. I don't know. It seems there's obviously some major reason as to why they would change it, but it's not relayed out there as to why. And then you have with social media, then, people just take that and have all sorts of narratives about it, where you can just kind of control the narrative more yourself.
Sure. And they also did that too with the Star Cruiser. Like they were kind of like sweeping it under the rug, like to say like, well, it worked for like an X amount of time, but we've decided that no, just say it was a complete, utter failure. Just say what it is. We all know what it is. Like, you don't have to pretend, because when you do that, it really shows how kind of fake you're being towards. Just say, you know what, we thought it would work. It didn't. And we're going to move on and we're going to learn from it. Keep it short and sweet. But when you give us this big runaround of like 10 different reasons why it quote unquote worked, but we all know it didn't. I mean, come on, like, let's get real here.
Yeah, D'Amaro's message on that was so you would have thought he won an award. You're like, wait a minute, this is for like this thing lasted barely a year. Like, it was strange wording on that one.
Yeah, and regardless if he becomes the next CEO of the Walt Disney Company, I have to tell you that right there, that project that he had such a big hand in, it's going to follow him for the rest of his life. He's never going to get rid of that, ever.
Yeah. I've said whatever, them replacing the rivers like that in Tom Sawyer Island, whatever they put in there has to be mind-blowing. You can't replace it with something that's just a land or it's okay. That big of a change to an opening day part of the park. There's a lot of pressure. They got to knock it out to do it. And,
it's Piston Peak, right? From Cars?
Yeah. What are they calling it? Yeah, it's Cars based, but parts of it also from Planes. Like, that's the other thing too, is as far as I know, I don't think it has like Lightning McQueen in there. I think it's these extended universe characters from this national park setting. And I'm not actually against like a national park setting in that area. Can be cool. For me, where it stands right now, it just kind of loses me when you have googly-eyed cartoon cars in Frontierland. I just don't see how that makes any sense. But we'll see what they end up doing with it. But yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on it regardless.
Yeah, this is what it looks like currently. Well, concept art. The problem I have with this, looking at current photos to what we're going to look at, Thunder Mountain kind of is it. From what I've seen, it's right next to the river, and it kind of gives you that ambiance. So when you're riding Thunder Mountain, what the hell are you going to be staring at? The back of a facade, or what the hell are we going to be looking at?
Yeah, it's going to change that's the thing too. It's like, it's going to change the way Haunted Mansion feels. It's going to change the way Big Thunder Mountain feels. Like, it's going to feel smaller in that area too, because a big body of water there, when you take that out, it's going to make everything feel smaller. It's going to change the dynamic of that entire part of the park.
Right. Regardless. How much Pixar is represented right there? Will that be the only Pixar representation?
Supposedly it's supposed to be contained into this Piston Peak area. Is where it's supposed to be, as far as of right now, at least.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're muted, George.
Oh, sorry. Even with Tiana's, like when you come up to the final hill before you do the drop, you kind of see like that outward, like, where you see the river and what have you. Now you're going to end up seeing Piston Peak.
I also wonder about the noise. Like, are you going to hear the cars? Like, it's just, I just have the questions like what that's going to be like when it's done.
From what
I don't think so.
They said that there was supposed to be like a sound barrier kind of thing where you could only hear that track or that audio like within that section. Like, once you leave, you're not gonna even like hear it.
Yeah, you're good. I mean, it's not like California Adventure. I don't think you can't even hear it there, right? When you separate out.
No, you can't. But as you get closer, you can.
Yeah, right.
But
Like from San Francisco, when you're walking in, you could kind of hear it, right?
vaguely.
Vaguely.
And that's if San Francisco is not a madhouse.
Madhouse, which is always the case, bro.
Yeah, so it's a perfect cover. So if there is any noise leaking out from Cars Land, that covers it, basically in the nutshell. But see, I agree that the Magic Kingdom they should get this Cars Land. I just don't agree where it's going. I just don't. And again, it's not like we're going to have a James Cameron looking over this project. So Disney can cut corners like crazy and no one's going to check them on it. That's what scares me.
Although competition is the equalizing factor here. I agree. James, I still think Pandora is the best newer land that Disney's done, and I think it's because you had Joe Rohde and James Cameron working on it, and James Cameron is a maniac and wants things his way, and a lot of times it works out very well. But I think historically, many times they will cut corners. There's many projects you can point to, but with what Universal's doing, all this competition now, and all this, Disney's been getting a lot of heat about a lot of things they've been doing over the years. That could be the equalizing factor of like they can't come into this and underperform here. Like they have to deliver, and if they don't, it's to their, in my opinion, I think it's to their own. I'm not going to say demise, but it's not going to help them out if they have this land and everyone's reaction is just like, well, it was fine. Like you don't want that. You're going to want people coming away wowed by this, and you know we'll see. I don't know about the dirt track racing. It's like okay, we'll see.
I don't like that. I really don't like that because if their e-ticket attraction is going to be on dirt and the way the Florida weather works out there, that attraction is going to be closed more than
well. Did they say that it's actually going? I don't know if it's actually going to be dirt. I thought it was going to be like in the interpretation as if you were on a dirt road.
Right.
I hope that's what it is.
I doubt it would be dirt. I would feel a lot better about the ride if those previews they showed about riding around those dirt things, if they had like actual rednecks with them, like teaching them how to. If a guy's wearing a mullet and he's got like a cutoff sleeve shirt, I'll be like, that guy knows how to off road. I don't know about just some Imagineers that just bought a Gator and they're like, hey, let's take it out. I'm like, well, like.
Hey, where's Joe Dirt when we need him?
Yeah, like you want a guy that's like he's got a couple missing teeth, but that dude's going to tell you how to do some off road. You know, it's going to be a fun ride regardless.
Oh, dude, that
Joe Dirt to ride. I'm on board.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Oh my God. The next thing we're going to talk about, I want to personally honor and say. Happy 100th wedding anniversary to Walt and Lillian Disney. They decided to dedicate, finally, after all these years, a window to Lillian on Main Street, which is on a very nice balcony. They have a little Mickey plush there that probably won't last long because it'll probably get destroyed by the California sun, God willing. And I want to ask you right off the bat, and I'm going to start with you, George. Why would it take, execs on something like this where Walt is going to be playing such a huge part in the next couple days to many, many, many citizens of Disney in general? Why did it take this long for her to get an actual window?
So, for my answer, actually, you actually answered it within the question, and I'll explain. Okay. For me, I would say, like it should not take that long for, for Walt Disney's wife, to have a piece of that legacy in Disneyland. But I also think too, a lot of times what execs and Imagineers think is they look so far into the future and they say, okay, how can we really cross promote this? Okay, sure. Well, it just so happens that for Disneyland 70th is the year we're going to have the very first ever Walt Disney audio animatronic. And it just so happens to be Walt and Lillian's 100th anniversary. So let's just kind of earmark that. So even though I have a feeling that they had this in mind for many years down the road, but we just didn't know it. And I feel like that they kind of saved it and released it during this time to kind of, it fit in with the Walt animatronic, Disneyland 70th, and their 100th wedding anniversary. That would be the only case that I would think of why they waited that long. If that wasn't the case, that's very sad that they had no opportunity that they could give Lillian her own window on Main Street.
Sure. Jared, I'm going to go to you next since you are our East Coast expert out at the parks out there.
Oh, and really quick, I'm so very sorry. And really quick, and the reason also too why I thought that they waited for this specific moment, because technically they already intertwined Lillian into the park with the Lily Bell, which I know not everybody can experience it, but it's still it pays tribute to her. That she's part of the railroad. So I think that's probably why, again, they wanted to include her, but just that's why they waited.
Okay. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. The only thing I see with the Libby Bell on the railroad is if people don't know where to look, they won't know it's there. This, on the other hand, they know it's there. They could see it from the ground. They don't have to be in a certain spot. So, Jared, I want to ask you, are you surprised it took 100 years of marriage to the founder of what many kids call the happiest place on earth for her to get her own actual window?
Considering my understanding, how corporations work, it doesn't surprise me that much. A lot of times details fall away. Disney's a very unique company in that it was founded by one man, and it's what it's morphed into now is far from that. So for a lot of these guys, it's they don't have that personal, they probably didn't think about it, the details of things. I'm not surprised. I am glad to see them finally do it, but one would have assumed a long time ago they would have done this. To honor her that way, but I can't say I'm shocked by it, but I guess better late than never, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, the timing with the Walt animatronic, okay, like George was saying, that kind of makes sense.
Definitely. Tommy, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm kind of going with what you guys said and what George was going with, that I'm pretty sure maybe they calculated it with this same release. But for me is, will this be marked on the map? And will she get some deserving plaque, or is it just or did they just drop the news in an article and then it's just for diehards if you know where it's at? So
they had a media event for this.
Okay, that's great. So that it worked that way. I love the idea. I mean, you got to pay homage to the wife of the man himself. I mean, come on, and I'm surprised her representation hasn't been more structured in the parks. Maybe there's a reason for that. But I mean, they're directing more and shining more light on Walt Disney himself as a person. So I do agree with this. This kind of makes him feel more personable with the theme park goers, because he feels like he's the one that made the park, right? But this brings him down to our level, which is cool because, I mean, a lot of families go there, a lot of couples go, so it's good to see representation for Lily for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know. To answer your question about a plaque, if they were going to put a plaque, which I think would be perfect, it would be right in this area down below, so people can read it. And what it would say, I'm not sure. Maybe this is what it would say. We are dedicating to share a new window on Main Street, USA, honoring Lillian Disney and her contributions to Disneyland. The window was unveiled, and well, it wouldn't say that part, but a saying on a plaque, so people can go up and read it. So it would not. It wouldn't.
Which, I mean, they're probably getting it. I mean, they're probably going to do it. I assume. Sure. I mean, we'll see. Right.
Oh, sure, but like I said, 100 years is I don't know. That's a long time. That's a really, really long time. I'm just going to be honest with you. You know, most. I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't think most marriages, George can relate to this, don't even last 50 years. To say 100 years, yeah, that's a long time. To not.
I mean, I believe there's some representation of her in the family museum up here in the Bay Area. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, no. I 100% agree with that. But in the actual Disneyland park itself, now I'm sure there's homages if you do the guided tour and you go visit his apartment above the fire station. I'm sure there's representation, but again, you have to do something in order to see it, if that's what it is. But at least now you can see it.
Here's a question: how quickly after Iger is done being CEO does he have a thing on a window?
I'm going to give it a week.
I was going to say it's going to be pretty quick.
I'm giving it a week. Yeah.
Yeah. Does Eisner have one?
George, you would know this. Does
Does
Eisner?
Does Michael Eisner have a name in a window?
You know, I don't think he does have one.
You would have to Google it. I don't think he does.
I don't recall seeing Eisner.
Because a lot of people aren't really thrilled with him when he opened.
I do know that when you go on like a Disney cruise, when you go to Castaway Cay, they have like Bob Iger has like his own like signage actually on the island.
Oh, of course.
Well, he's also got his own, doesn't he have his own building now in New York too?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we need that in New York. No, okay.
It's just a building that buys other buildings.
Pretty much. Pretty much. It's unregistered, and it just sucks up other companies like a black hole.
Yeah.
So OG confirms he doesn't have a window, but they dedicated the big Disney exec building at the studio in his name.
Yeah, of course. And the one place where I guess people want to feel big.
What is that building? Is that what? I never really understood what that building was in New York. Is it headquarters for Disney New York?
It might. I don't know.
Is it the new one?
Yeah, I think it's the one that like just opened. I think.
Oh yeah, so I know like what was it Kelly Ripa and her morning show films there? It's in Manhattan, right? Or no?
Probably.
Okay. I mean, I think they filmed there. Isn't it like a studio type?
It might be. Maybe it's the
Kelly
Ripa building.
Yeah, it's.
Like I'm pretty sure. I mean,
new headquarters.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why they would need a new headquarters. What is California getting too, boring for them, or what?
I don't know.
Are they feel they need to have multiple buildings and
maybe they got a good deal on it or something? I don't know.
Yeah, you know what the good deal was? Jacking all the prices up. That's what the good deal was.
One way to do it.
Many ways to do it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It looks like a nice. Well, okay.
I think it's more so because since they do a lot of filming, like for ABC, like with Good Morning America, and you guys mentioned like Kelly Ripa and everything. So I think because even though they still station a lot in California, they do a lot of heavy stuff in New York. So I guess they wanted to update a new building that can kind of be like, a second kind of headquarters.
Yeah, makes sense. But wow, what a nice building, man. I'm glad my Magic Key price increases is paying for this. I'm so thrilled.
On some level.
Yeah, not really. I'm just putting on a false facade like Daddy Josh likes to do at D23 Expos. Just lie to a whole bunch of people in a room.
I will say though, and just to give him just a little bit of credit, a little bit right now, I will say at least he is keeping his word right now. I still want to see how that goes whenever they make the decision for the CEO that he is turbocharging everything. Now, again, for whatever the reason, for his own personal gain or what have you. In a way, I do care, but yet I'm just glad that he is making things move, because over the last several years, there was like nothing moving. They were talking about it, but like you could literally see nothing. So now the fact that he is capable of getting stuff moving, that's a good thing. That's a plus. That's a compliment. But the real true factor comes in that if he becomes CEO, and now he's comfortable in the grandiose, King Poobah of chairs, does he stay that route? Or if he gets denied the CEO role, does he then walk away?
That I find that interesting, because I think likely he would leave. That's what Kevin Staggs and I'm getting it wrong, but the two guys, I think it's Staggs,
Kevin Meyer and Tom.
Kevin Meyer and Kevin, they walked away. Well, do you think Josh do you think all this stuff's happening because he wants to be CEO and want to do more things? Yeah, I mean,
I think he's kind of schmoozing the execs and the board to kind of show like what he's capable of doing, for sure.
He is, but the way I see it, and I'm not saying it's going to happen this way, I can kind of see, because there's been times where I've seen where Josh Tomorrow and Bob Iger, where they just don't get along at times, whether it's in front of cameras, behind cameras, rumored, non-rumored, so there is this slim chance it could be a Bob Chapek situation all over again. And the reason I say that is because, let's say like George was saying, Bob Iger's turbocharging all these projects, but then things start going downhill, and let's say Daddy Josh is in charge, and Bob Iger is taking a back seat, but he's still playing the puppet master in the background. He can easily blame tomorrow.
That is a concern. I just don't think Iger's going to want to risk that, because there is no coming back from this. Because then people are then going to look at that and say, okay, you're inviting him back over and over again. Why is he even leaving? And the choices and decisions he's making, the fact that that this would be repetitive.
It would not be a good look.
No. It definitely would not be a good look. So if they were going to go that route, instead of putting a false facade up, if I was Bob Iger and they wanted to do it that way, I would just say and come out and say, you know what? I'm still going to be a CEO, but we're turning the CEO position, my position, into a dual CEO position. But Josh Tomorrow is going to take the front seat. I'm going to take the back seat. So I'm still going to be in charge. But when it comes time for the, press meetings, shareholder meetings, walking around in the park, Josh is going to be front and center. If they did something like that, I could see that.
Speaking of that, I still think there's a decent chance you see Kevin Mayer and Tom Staggs as dark horse candidates for that, because Iger is consulting with them. They were in the running last go round. Now they're running Candle Media. Disney they would have to buy Candle Media and import them in. I still think that's a outside chance it could happen. But I do agree. It'll be really interesting to see, because we know with Chapek last go around, Iger was essentially still in charge. He was chairman of the board. Chapek was answering to the board and to Iger. What is Iger's role after this? Because I think he's still supposed to be consulting or whatever for a period of time after a new CEO is named. And how involved is he going to be is going to be pretty interesting to see.
And the fact that you said that's what raises my eyebrow about Iger really not leaving, just taking a back seat and playing puppet master.
See, but here's the thing. I'm okay with him doing that for a short period of time, just to the fact of that if he was to start kind of like the training process for tomorrow to really then, okay, you could stand up on your own 2 feet. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
The behind the scenes of what he did with Chapek, yeah, Chapek was just a puppet
Oh,
in that manner of like, oh my gosh, like the world is completely collapsing. I'm out, you're in, but I still want control.
That interview too, where he stepped down on CNBC, is still one of the weirdest interviews from an energy standpoint I've ever seen. Like it was before COVID really hit, and all of a sudden Iger just seemed very sheepish and sitting. I'm like, and like it came out of left field, and you're like, what do you know? Like what is about to come down the pipeline here?
Yeah. Well, something did come down the pipeline, and it wasn't good.
I think he knew something. That's my guess, anyways. But
well, see, I want to ask you, Jared, just to expand on that for a second. If they do, if Disney does wind up buying Candle Media, you know, do you think that would be such a smart thing to do? Since Iger literally has less than a year now, until he forfeits his CEO position and a new CEO is named, but the Walt Disney Company just got done buying literally the rest of Hulu, and they put a massive down payment on that. Would it be smart to buy another company just to have two dual CEO positions?
It would depend on how strongly they felt about, I think, Kevin and Tom to do it. If they were sold that those were the guys that are going to, transform and continue on and improve the business, and how, if they didn't feel Josh could do it, or they didn't like any internal candidates, I suppose you could say it would make some sense to do that if they were that sold on him. How much I think to buy him, I don't know what Candle Media would actually be worth. They've done a lot. I mean, they've done like $4 billion worth of deals they've done. Sure. So I don't know how much it would cost them, but I mean, probably Disney, I'm sure, can borrow more money to do it if they needed to. I don't think that would be a limiting factor necessarily, but that would be very interesting.
It would be really interesting. George, what do you think? Do you think, the same question goes to you, do you think they would spend that type of money after buying the rest of Hulu, so they own 100% rights to Hulu? Do you think it would be smart, less than a year, to buy another company just to hire two gentlemen for this dual CEO position of the Walt Disney Company?
I think honestly, that would be very risky in itself. I think a risk in itself is just whoever is going to start filling the shoes from Iger after Iger coming back from putting Chapek, in the line of fire. So that alone is a risk, let alone then purchase a whole entire company. I don't know if they would necessarily buy it out. They may do maybe like a partnership kind of thing first to kind of, ease it in. But I don't think they're going to actually buy out a whole entire, unless that if they were to go to Staggs and Meyer and say, hey, you two want to do the dual role for CEO, sure. You go, and if you want under your wing, under your name, buy out the company that you just moved over from, that would be then a good statement, like right out the gate, because then they would be making the CEO moves.
Definitely. Tommy, I'm going to ask you the same question as well. With Disney buying Hulu completely out, so they 100% own them. They put a massive payment down to buy the rest of Hulu. And then in order to have these two gentlemen that were part of the Walt Disney Company at one point, and one of two guys, if not both gentlemen, were in contending over the years to become CEO or some type of leadership position at the Walt Disney Company, do you think it's possible they would spend even more money to buy another company so they can hire two gentlemen that run that company just to have a dual CEO position?
I mean, that's hard to tell. I kind of like what you guys were saying. Maybe split it between them two. But so you're saying it was with Hulu and everything. That's how they came about with everyone. So, I mean, I'm not 100% sure on this topic, but I do like it, but I think just stick to one. I think usually, you know, I think one person in charge would probably be the best idea. I mean, it's hard though, because if they're in the runner-up and stuff, and Disney kind of just throws people out the window too a lot. So I mean, I don't know what position they are in line. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Well, hopefully, if that is the case, it's not the window they just made for Lily and Disney because it's brand spanking new.
Exactly. You know, I think Roger Rabbit has a window they can definitely break. Anyone that has an ex-wife out there they don't like, there's plenty of windows in that land to make that happen. So could be a little ceremony, who knows? But the next thing I want to talk about, and this is the big controversy. Tommy, obviously you can't be here for this. I wish you could, but you know, with work and all that. But George, this is going to be directed more at you, and then I'll go to Jared next. Is the virtual queue system. First of all, I want to ask you right off the bat, are you really surprised they went this route?
No, honestly, I'm not, because as much as we all had the speculation that they were going to open up backstage area for like maybe like standby holding or extended line queue, you know, that was under consideration because there, one way or the other, there was no way that they were going to start out this show, especially on Disneyland's actual 70th birthday, and not do something out of the norm than just walking into the Opera House like we're so used to doing with the Lincoln show. We knew something was going to be done. We just didn't know what specifically. But I had a funny feeling that they were going to do virtual queue, because anytime that when Disney looks at the data, they look at the numbers, they've probably seen how many park reservations are expecting for the 70th. As I said, you can go on any hotel website and you can try to book a few nights, like between the 16th to the 18th of July, and all the rooms are booked out. So everyone and their grandmother is staying literally between Harbor and Catella for the 70th anniversary, not even just for the celebration, but to get a glimpse of the very first ever Walt Disney audio animatronic. And as I've said prior to going live, this is history in the making in itself, because the Opera House probably is not going to have the amount of people that it's going to be on the 17th. They've never probably seen that amount since it opened with Lincoln back, you know, when it moved from the New York World's Fair into Disneyland. So this is actually history in the making, that I can guarantee you every single seat is going to be filled.
Absolutely.
To see the show.
Is there a lot of like hype for it right now, like anticipation from like out there to the Disneyland people?
I feel like the hype is huge, because when they did the first day of the 70th in the middle of May, of course, you know, I wanted it then, right? They announced maybe a month before that it was coming July 17th instead. So I feel like this is the second rush to get to Disney for a 70th celebration thing, because after this, I don't know really what else is going to be new for the 70th celebration. You know, so
yeah, the only thing that's going to open on the 17th is the Walt animatronic show, and then they're adding the final verse into It's a Small World.
Yes.
Other than that, I think that is pretty much it as far as like the stuff that was made specifically for the 70th. I think everything is just kind of holding into place, you know, for the whole rest of the year. Obviously, the Walt show is going to end up rotating with the Lincoln show, and actually Lincoln returns back on the 18th.
Yeah.
So being that they're going to do the virtual queue on the 17th, it just makes me wonder, is the virtual queue only going to be for the 17th?
That's funny you said that, George, because to me, that's kind of gets me nervous, because I think I want Walt going the whole day. I mean, who's running for Abraham Lincoln? I mean, he's been there for, like you said, like years, man, like decades. I'm sure everybody's going for Walt. is this Abraham Lincoln in a different section or different part of the Opera House, or is it going to run into the time for Disney?
They're supposed to rotate. And actually, Tommy, I'm right there with you. I would say bring Lincoln back. And I love the fact that they would be rotating, but give people a chance that whoever didn't make it to the 17th, just keep the Walt animatronic going, throughout the whole entire day.
Yes.
To give it. Now, the other concern with that too is Disney thinking that if they keep that animatronic going the whole day without breaks in between, then we're stuck with the situation where we end up getting the Walt doing the dab.
Yeah, I could see it overheating. You're right, bro. I could see it glitching out or messing up. So maybe this gives them time for maintenance in between. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
See that, I don't know. I kind of feel by them, having the show for one day, going back to Abe Lincoln and going back and forth, the way I see it, it's kind of like electronics. Okay, if you're constantly, let's say, you have a gaming PC, right, and some experts out online tell you, hey, when you're done with your PC, hey, shut it down. Others say, no, just put it in sleep mode. Well, this kind of references to the show and the animatronic. If you're sitting there taking the Walt animatronic off and on the stage, installing them, uninstalling them, installing them, uninstalling them, that could cause issues as well.
Oh, well, man, I don't think it's going to be like that, bro. They got to have some. Yeah.
I think what they did was because I think they literally gutted the whole entire stage. It's on a mechanism where it rotates.
100%.
Okay, so it's like the carousel of progress.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long is the Walt? Like, how long is he supposed to talk in the show?
Right. So George said 18 minutes. I think it's 15 to 18 minutes, like the Abe Lincoln show. But then, it's the breakup of one man's dream. So it's going to be doing all that story. And then I think the curtain's he'll come around the curtain, or the curtain will open up, and then he'll be at his desk, and then he'll do his whole spiel. And you're like, holy shit, that's Walt. And then it also says the audience will have time to interact. And I'm like, well, how much time? Because if there's 80 people in the crowd and all the kids are running up, or all the Disney adults are freaking out like Walt, how much time am I going to have to go wait in line again in the virtual queue? I mean, what's going on?
Well, yeah, and I say between the whole entire show, 15 to 18 minutes, I believe they said, it's going to be a rendition of the One Man's Dream show that they have at Hollywood Studios. And then they're going to add in, where the curtain opens, and rather than it be Abe Lincoln, it's going to be Walt Disney. And I think that's going to be like a 6-minute speech from Walt, I think.
Okay.
Which is about the same amount of time that Abe Lincoln talked.
Yeah. So he doesn't move. He's just sitting at his desk right there. He's not walking around.
We honestly really don't know. I don't know if this piece of concept art, if that's actually how he's going to look like, where he's leaning on the desk, or if they just kind of use that as point of reference.
Right.
But
man, an article I seen, they said mannerisms, specific mannerisms. So I mean, it may be just upper body, but my God, if you see him walk and he's walking like him, that's going to be.
He's got to be smoking though too. I mean, we got to have that hint of smoke in there.
Oh man, right. He's got to be. What is it?
Which honestly, you know what? For me, I would have rather them do a state of the art audio animatronic where he is walking, because R&D at Imagineering has been working on walking animatronics for how long? Right? They have a gigantic dinosaur walking towards you in Beijing in Jurassic Park, for Christ's sake. So you mean to tell me that they can't get Walt to walk across the stage or what have you, or do something? Right. And again, that's universal, but just with technology, I would think that they could have done, something where he's walking, but it's really him. It's the mannerisms of how Walt really walked and how.
It's interesting too, with something like this. I do see this animatronic, this show, really not going away for years and years to come. Now, every time Disneyland, I don't know about Walt Disney World, but Disneyland has had some type of milestone. Like the last milestone we had was the 100th celebration of the Walt Disney Company. We had the beautiful fountains on Cinderella's castle at the entrance. They haven't been turned on in God knows how long. I don't even think the mechanisms are even there anymore, which I kind of felt like it brought kinetic energy to the castle and just, entice people to walk across that bridge. Now, something like this, because Jared, I was watching the live stream last night where you guys were celebrating Orange Grove 55 6K sub celebration, and you guys at one point were talking about artificial intelligence. Now, imagine this, that this Walt animatronic years to come has that feature in it.
I think you could see it. I think AI is going to get wild. I mean, you think about the last 2 years of AI. Where's it going to be in 5? And then you have the acceleration of that as well. Like, yeah, I mean, it sounds insane, but I won't be shocked if you do see if you're talking about crowd interactions. I said it in the live stream last night. There's that movie where I think it's Severance, where Johnny Depp uploads his consciousness into a computer. Like, you could essentially have an AI that is Walt, install it into a robot, and he fields questions and answers. Like, that gets a little. I mean, you hope he doesn't go grok rogue and start call himself doing some crazy things. Funny. But you could see that. I mean, potentially could be really cool. And like, I'm torn on it because I like more Walt. I think Walt needs to be represented more in the parks and really just what he was able to accomplish. And these parks are not just a company. It was based off of one man that did all these things. But how that will look in the future is going to be, it might get kind of wild. And it may be not even that long in the future.
No. See, there's so much of that going on even now. Yeah. Like even what the hell was it? For prime example, GPT. Most students, even though they shouldn't be doing it because they should be doing their own damn homework, they could sit there and go on that program and literally write a 10-page essay within minutes.
Oh,
it's like, how the hell did you just do that? So
if I was in college, that's exactly what I would have done.
Me too. But I'm going to raise my hand in guilt. But
back in that time when I was in college, I was using Dragon.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember when they let us have laptops because I could type so much faster, and some teachers wouldn't let you use it. But Dragon was useful. I remember that.
Yeah. God, I haven't heard that program name in God knows how long. It's been a hot minute.
That and Evernote was actually really good for a bit, and Evernote got bought by somebody, and it hasn't been good ever since they got purchased.
Was it Iger?
It might have been Iger. I can't remember who bought them. It's probably Microsoft. They tend to buy everything, and then it just gets worse after they buy it. It's like, okay.
Wow. It winds up in their graveyard.
Yeah. Well, what's even crazy is, I was just going to say, I've dabbled in some of these AI like voice cloners. So like, I do YouTube videos all the time. So I'll feed it videos and like, it's close. Like there's an AI voice I have of me that like, obviously if you know me, you'd be like, that's not Jared, but it's getting so much better where I can only imagine in the next few years of like, you could literally have an AI of Walt or anybody that's like your online avatar. That is you when you're like, there's been people have talked about, you could literally have one sit on a live stream and say the things you would say, but it's not really you. Like it's insane where all this could go.
Well, I actually had a conversation with a AI because I went to the Sphere in Las Vegas and they have AI bots out. And I asked one what the meaning of life was. Ooh, so she gave me that answer and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was cool to listen to, but I mean, it's whatever. And then, for like the interactions with the Walt animatronic, I mean, they can't do too much with that. I mean, they can't have him shaking hands and stuff. They don't want to get it all beat up. So I'm just interested if he's just like waving at the end or if he just greets you, like if there's a sensor or something, or there's someone in the back doing it. I mean, I guess it's just like the Abe Lincoln one.
Maybe he goes into
there's got to be
stand-up comedy routine and starts roasting people in the crowd randomly. Like,
hey, I'll take it. I mean, that would be good, man. That would be unexpected, right?
Definitely. But I will say for this, I believe this Walt show is going to be very emotional for people because this is going to be the closest thing thus far that anyone has ever gotten to like actually see him in person, other than people, the very few that are still around with us that actually got to work with him over the years. Not too many left. But just for us as the diehard Disney fans to actually kind of see him not like almost in the flesh, but like to actually pay tribute to someone who was all about innovation and technology and taking risks. And he always loved the progression of audio animatronics from that first Tiki Bird that moved to Abraham Lincoln. And now he is part of his own legacy of what he created within an embodiment of himself.
Right, exactly. Like, do you think at some point that he would have thought that would have sprouted out from that Tiki Room parrot, bro? Like, that's crazy. Like, I'm wondering if he would even fathom that he could have been put into an animatronic eventually.
Well, and that was always like the criticism behind this was that Walt wouldn't have liked it because he didn't like putting himself up on a pedestal, which I find very admirable of him. But I think like he would be okay that us as the fans would want to pay tribute to him and everything. I think that he would be very honored, in my opinion.
100%.
I'll tell you what's interesting, and this that came to me is like, I've always thought, what would Walt do? Yeah. What if, say, you're the new Disney CEO, you step in and you need some fresh ideas. Walts don't walk around every day. What if you developed an AI that took all the stuff of Walt and it becomes a consultant on ideas? Like, I could see this becoming a thing where you have an internal Walt AI and you just ChatGPT, give us 10 ideas for a new attraction.
Well, the first edition will be like that South Park episode. Adam Sandler against this with that, There's going to be countless ideas.
But like, I mean, you could see some of this stuff being like, I mean, it's like you go consult the Walt in the, it's like, what's your idea? Run it by the Walt and see what he says, stuff like that.
It's like the Power Rangers command center, but instead of it being Zordon, it's like it's like Walt in this big hyperbolic chamber.
Yeah, Josh comes away being like, the Walt said no, we can't do it. He also called me a bunch of names and kicked me out of his office. Like, just hardcore Walt in there. Yeah,
that would be funny. Like if it actually was that intelligent, they turn on the switch and you just hear Walt say, "You're all a bunch of idiots."
They turn it off because he just starts insulting them. What have you done with my company? And they're like, "Okay, never mind."
Turn off.
Turn it off. Iger, after he insults Iger for 10 minutes, you're just like, "Okay, it doesn't work anymore. Just turn it off."
Yep.
Bye.
We still have a few years of progression to deal with this. Before we get it
right. The animatronic will go into the series Defunctland. That's where it'll go.
They don't watch it. He starts watching YouTube too much and gets ideas off of it. And like, oh no, he's been tampered with by the internet.
So I want to ask you since I have this section pulled up with the picture and all that, but I'm more curious about what it says on top of it. George, can you explain to any people that are not familiar by this point with the virtual queue system on anything, including the show that's going to debut on the 17th, what are they trying to say here? So you can explain it to the rookies that don't know what to do.
Yeah, so basically when Disney drops an announcement that, whether like a show or a ride is going to go on virtual queue, in their minds, that's telling them that the hyped up demand for this is going to be through the roof for however X amount of time. And they really honestly don't even know really how bad it could end up being, but they're just going off of the data and the numbers of how many people that have a reservation that day and what have you. So they decide to use the virtual queue that basically is a placeholder for anyone who can get access into the virtual queue that you do on the Disneyland or Walt Disney World app, whatever, resort you're at. But and that's not a guarantee. That's basically if you get in. Now with this particular show, they're going to do 2 drops starting on the 17th at 7 a.m. and then 12 noon. Now the thing with the Disneyland resort, as opposed to at times with Walt Disney World, you can be out of the park range when you're doing like the virtual queue. Like you can be at your hotel or what have you when they still did the virtual queues for Tron or Cosmic Rewind or what have you. With Disneyland, your butt has to be in the Esplanade, like right, pass through, security and everything. And the problem with that is you're having one specific area where everybody is standing at the exact same time. And this is why I've always had it. And this worries me on the 17th because I've always had issues with the virtual queue at Disneyland, not so much with Walt Disney World because of this feature. When you have everybody in one place at the same time, they all have the apps activated, ready to hit the button for the virtual queue. Everything crashes. Everyone's hitting the button at the same time. It's done within seconds. And it's either you got put into a virtual queue or you have not. Now, another issue is even when you're in a virtual queue, a lot of us may not have even thought of this. God forbid, if there were issues with the show and it has to go down, then it's going to delay your group number to the possibility that you may not even see it that day. Because even though they have to be prepared as much as they possibly can,
sure,
it's still going to be a brand new audio animatronic. There may be issues with it, and they're not going to want to showcase that, especially for the Disney community. So if they have to shut down the show, again, that's going to back up the groups, and then you're going to have a second virtual queue drop at 12 noon. And I'm still trying to figure out that if it's a 15 to 18 minute show and it's going to be on consistent, how many groups are they really going to have just within this one day? I don't understand.
That's where I'm going, bro. I get the same thing.
So this is how I see it. They should almost, at least for this, I don't know about future projects they might do with the Avengers attractions coming to Avengers Campus, or the Coco Dark Ride coming to the Pixar Pier, or Avatar, or so on. But I think since Disney fans, or just people in general, pay so much money to have a Magic Key out here on the West Coast, I think what they should do with the virtual queue system is they should break it up into 2 groups. You have 4 Magic Keys, part of the Disneyland Resort. The top 2 keys get the 7 a.m. spot. The bottom 2 Magic Keys get the 12 p.m. noon spot. What do you guys think about that?
Do you think
it could work.
Do you think virtual queue is basically kind of like a psychological mind game in a sense? Because technically we really don't need virtual queues. I feel like they give it to us because we're then have to be forced to go at 7 a.m. We have to be forced to be in the park by noon, where someone can say, if we just get in a regular line, oh, I'll go at like 4 o'clock if the park's going to stay open till midnight, and I'll just go in my own luxury time. They want butts in the park. And how do you do that? You have to force them by giving them a virtual queue that they have to be there by 7 a.m. outside in the Esplanade.
Well, and think of how many people will buy, drinks and food and extra stuff that maybe they wouldn't have if they didn't get there at 7 and then their time is at 2. They're going to buy. That's another revenue stream. That's probably a lot. I would agree with that.
I mean, this is rough, dude. Like, shout out Jason Hill. He mentioned he's going to be on the plane at 7 in the morning flying from Arizona or whatever. So, you know, technically he's only going to have one shot to get it at noon, and then he's going to have to fly back. So to me, that hurts. That I feel is pain, because you go there for one specific thing, and I don't think it's going to, like what you said, Conductor. You were mentioning split it into Magic Keys and stuff. You know, I think Disney likes the people that are just buying the one-day tickets, and they don't really cater to a certain thing. If they did that, they could have did the Magic Keys on another day, maybe an earlier day than what it is. But it's tough, man. It's hard. I don't think everybody's going to get it. I don't think everybody's going to be able to watch it the first day, which is unfortunate.
I'm surprised they didn't do like annual pass holder previews for it.
They're having like a special content creator viewing on the 15th.
Of course.
But as far as like cast member previews or annual pass, there was nothing that was mentioned.
And that's highly unfortunate, because we all know when they have the media events, or they have what they call the content creator events, it's a very limited event. Only a handful of people get to go, and everyone else is just shut out. So I think it was a missed opportunity for them not to have Magic Key previews. Now, I want to ask you guys this, you know, and George made a great point. Playing the psychological game is what Disney does best, unfortunately. But we've all talked about it, about the backstage areas, which they do use for parades. They do use for, you know, extra, you know, exits, you know, for people to leave the park or, you know, head towards the Esplanade. So with them doing virtual queue, they got all this backstage area, because if you look at it, this is the Opera House right here. This right here, if I zoom out, you got all this backstage area. How hard would it have been to just sit there and, you know, put up some temporary queue spacing in here and just have people line up?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It wouldn't have been that hard at all. And again, if the demand was more so for Disneyland's actual birthday, they could have just had it just for the day.
Yeah.
You know, and then just have extra cast members on hand just to kind of, you know, move the guest flow, you know, through the daily park operations. And that's why when they released the tickets for the D23 on the 18th, that's why I didn't take no chances, because this was before they even announced they were even going to do a virtual queue. And that's why my butt ended up getting the D23 tickets, because at least with that, it guarantees me to see that show on top of they're doing a Q&A with an Imagineer, which actually we have to be there at 6:30 in the morning before the park. So we're getting escorted into the park before it even opens.
See, I wasn't aware of that, George. So when that all dropped when they announced this, or
they actually dropped that before they announced the virtual queue. They when did that drop? It was like a few weeks ago.
And then so you locked in a showing for sure on the 18th.
On the 18th.
Because you're a D23 member.
Correct. Yes.
Oh my God. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
At least they did that, though. At least they're anticipating that hell's going to break loose on the 17th, because I feel like I said, this is like the second coming of the 70th, bro. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be swamped.
I think they also like to use virtual queues because it gives them, on some level, it's giving them also a bunch of data on certain things that they can use to, who knows what they look at analytics of. And having a standby, you can count people that would come in, but giving that, it like gives them, it gives them something they can use to probably further monetize things or whatever, but it gives them some sort of data set they don't normally get by just having a typical standby.
Yeah.
So are we aware that is this building, the Opera House, is it just refurbished or did they do an extension? Because they did say they're adding new audio animatronic pictures and stuff in the gallery, like showing like stages of it in the Opera House. So like, does that mean they removed some of the Abe Lincoln stuff or is it a new section, or
George, you would know best on that one.
Yeah, at first I thought that it was going to be a completely new section. Like they were going to keep the original stuff in there, and I thought they were going to add stuff more. But I believe more recently, yeah, I think they're taking out some of the stuff that was already prior in there, and they're transitioning it into the newer stuff of how like they came up with the conception for the Walt animatronic and what have you. And rumors are stating that there may be some things in there for possible future projects that are on the horizon for Disneyland Forward. Now, does that mean like we're going to get brand new things announced on the 17th? I doubt it, but I think it's going to be more connected to possibly like with Avatar and Coco and stuff like that.
See that's what I'm wondering, because years ago they had the Blue Sky
Skyler.
Mm-hmm. And it drives me pretty much crazy when I do go into Disneyland and I see all these vacant spaces. I'm like, why can they not bring back that exhibit? They have plenty of real estate to have an area where you walk in and you can kind of see basically your investment. I'm gonna put it that way. It's basically your investment as a Magic Key holder. Don't get me wrong, D23, you see your investment, but you have to pay to go in to see that investment. If you're a Magic Key holder and you can't get a D23 ticket, which it's hard. George can tell you, him and OG got a ticket from their good friend Lucas Kim for D23.
Oh, so, you didn't want to see me that day.
No, I did not.
I was cursing in tongues.
Ooh. Actually, I might want to see that. We might have to create a volatile, some type of volatile.
I tell you what, when they create an AI version of the Italiano, it'll already be in the system, and then you could just go and do a playback.
Oh Lord!
That should be one of your vlogs. Is just you just going off for like 2 minutes, and then that's it. It's like, oh,
well, then you know what's going to happen, Jared? As he's going off, the only thing that's going to stop him is Joe Dirt showing up.
Yeah,
that's what's going to stop.
That'll calm him down a little bit.
Actually, if you go back on the Orange Grove 55 playlist, it would be around the time, I think it was either like March or April of 2024. There is a show where I'm basically doing a whole rant of my experience or lack thereof to try to get those D23 tickets.
I think I vaguely remember that.
Yes.
And I was laughing. I'm going to tell you that. I was laughing. I felt sorry for you, but I was laughing.
But actually, to what you were saying, Conductor, about like investing, for us as the diehard Disney fans, that we want to see like a little peek behind the curtain, and kind of get like up-to-date things and what have you. Honestly, I would take it one step further. Now, this may be a little bit ambitious, and they would have to be careful with this because it would kind of falter into like the D23 events, but I think that they can pull it off if they only showcase what they want to. I would love for them to actually start doing tours inside Imagineering itself. Hell, I would pay an extra premium ticket to go into Imagineering. And again, they don't have to show us everything, obviously they're going to save that for certain, special announcements, but, cover certain things up or have like restricted areas and just show us what they would want to see. But just to be able to walk into Imagineering and watch what they do on a day-to-day basis, and where we can see a lot of the R&D, some of the newer technology stuff. And each time that you go in, it could be a different experience because depending on when you do it, if you go in this year, it may be different from next year. I think honestly, people would eat that up, especially us diehard Disney fans.
Oh, 100%. And you know what's funny about that? I'll even top it a little bit further. The Captain Neo Theater in Tomorrowland, which is basically been abandoned for God knows how long. They use it once in the Blue Lagoon to sit there and do, special screenings of Disney Plus shows and whatnot and premieres, but basically it sits abandoned. I would like them, if you're in the park one day, right, as a Magic Key holder, they have something where you go into this theater, you sit down, they have a Q&A, they have probably 5 or 6 Imagineers on stage, and you ask them questions. And as you're asking them questions, it's almost like a D23 type situation. They got the screen behind them, and they can actually show you what they're telling the audience at that time, what they're working on, without going into too much detail. But then you have it restricted. I know that's a huge privacy thing, and I don't know if they could get around it, because people love to film stuff they shouldn't be filming, and spoil things, which I don't like. But they could do something like that. That's what I mean. Instead of letting a lot of these buildings, whether it's in Disneyland, whether it's in Walt Disney World, why not use them for purpose? Why just let them sit there and rot?
Well, and like from an actual useful standpoint, if you're talking about the biggest issue many corporations have is like top down. How do the people at the top really know what the people at the bottom want? A lot of times I think they rely on social media, but that's a very small segment of, I think they say like less than 10% of the actual population is on, like, say, Twitter X.
Sure.
So you're not getting a huge segment, whereas you take that in there and you get actual feedback or ideas that people want and kind of get you closer to the ground level of maybe what people are wanting, instead of, I think Disney a lot of times is like guessing. Like if you were to tell me, okay, we're going to take off the Rivers of America, we're going to put a thing in here, I never would have thought they would have gone with Cars. Like figure out what people are wanting more, instead of, I feel like a lot of times they're just sort of, throwing a dart on a board. And then, I know a lot of people were like, oh, we're going to save the rivers. I'm like, Disney made way too much of a big deal about this to go back on it, as much as I think they would look at that as a bad look for them if they did. But if you can get any sort of data about what people want, and then you're able to use that as saying, like, a lot of people want, whatever it is there a way we can do this? Like, I think that could actually be useful for them. And it would also give people a glimpse into, they're trying to rehab Imagineering right now. They got that Disney Plus show going on. They're showing behind the scenes stuff. Like it could work for them both ways, rehabbing Imagineering, but also getting actual data they could use.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed, and Disney does it too, but Universal does it a lot more. They send you, so you go to the park, and whether it's that day or the next day, they send you an email. They ask how your experience was, and then halfway through that survey, they deliberately ask you in the survey, hey, would you like to join this other, survey that kind of talks about the future of the park? If they did more of that, and then if they did more of being physically in the park, pulling people aside and, ask them, hey, can I have 5 minutes of your time? And, go somewhere maybe where it's air conditioning and whatnot, because you might be by yourself, you might be with your kids, you might want to be, out of the hot SoCal sun, or be out of the never seen rain that ever happens out here, but it does happen. Because that's one thing Universal Hollywood does, like whether it's for Halloween Horror Nights, whether it's for Grinchmas, or just everyday operations, right when you get into the park, they always have a team of PR people that will pull you aside, say, hey, would you like to take a survey? How is your experience at the park today? What can we do to increase and make it a better experience? I feel like if Disney physically did that in the parks, that would help.
Well, and I think too, what Disney ends up doing more is they focus on the non-Disney fanatics in the community. Like, as much you think that they would listen to us more, but I feel like they look at the data of like what the normies would, the typical ticket holders, or as OG calls them, the soccer moms. Yeah, that they, you know, they go on vacation, you know, because these are the people that literally, when they go on vacation, they spend like vacationers. They buy all the fancy food, they buy a whole ton of merch. You know, it's like, what is the demographic that people are looking at to say, okay, for example, Jared, you had mentioned like with the Cars franchise. I feel like with the Cars, that wasn't made for us. I feel like that was literally made for the normies with the kids that are like, hey, we love cars, you know, especially because it's a merch cash cow, you know, when it came out in 2006 with the diehard diecast cars and what have you. I mean, they flew off the shelves. So now they're trying to market that and say, oh yeah, okay, well, it worked in California. Okay, where can we bring it into Florida that, you know, we can, you know, utilize a lot of space that, you know, because again, a normie isn't going to worry about Tom Sawyer Island or the rivers of America. It's us as the Disney folks that have a connection to it, a tie to it, because it harkens back to the time of Walt and what he considered as a traditional theme park. But like nowadays with families and kids, all they want to see is that the shiny new fad that is just popular in just regular pop culture.
And see, that's the problem I see. You made an excellent point, George, as OG calls it, with the soccer moms. It's just, I kind of feel they're missing the opportunity to focus more on that for people that once in a while, maybe once in a Blue Lagoon or once a year or once every 5 years, goes on a Disney vacation, instead of mainly focusing on the people that invested their money into the park in a way by owning a magic key. Those are the people you need to, you know, pull the information from, the way I see it, because they are at the parks more consistently. They see what's going on day-to-day operations when they are there. They see a lot more than a soccer mom family would. I'm just going to call the kettle black as I see it. You know, it would be better if they did it that way than what you're saying is just focus on a family of four that very rarely ever goes on a Disney vacation, if they even do it at all.
You know what I would honestly love to see, and this may be a little bit too complex, but I was talking with my my future mother-in-law that, you know, she does a lot of cruising, and she doesn't really do Disney cruises, but she does like the Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, and stuff like that, where they have like the medallions that as you go, you end up like, the more cruises you do, you accumulate like points onto your medallion where you can get a free stateroom, or almost you can get up to a free cruise and what have you. I would love to see that come into the theme park space, that no matter what annual pass you would have, based on how many times that you clock into the theme park when you use a reservation, that allows you to get points, so to speak. And depending on what tier you end up in with, of how many times you save your points, that would establish you to say if you're an elite status or if you're a gold status. So that way, for instance, like with the Walt animatronic show, for an elite status, they can have early entry to see the show, because it goes, because then you're also, Disney is allowing guests to say, okay, in order to get these points, you got to come into our parks. So that's going to tell people in their minds, oh, I got to make a reservation. I got to make a reservation. I got to go as many times as I possibly can because I want to hit that elite status. That's where I wish that they would have went with the Magic Keys, when they kind of separated from Walt Disney World of it just being called an annual pass. I know that sounds a little bit complex, but I don't think anything more can be more confusing than these damn reservation systems.
And that's the problem. You know, I get why they still want to hold on to the reservation system out here in Anaheim or in California, but I don't know, dude. I'm personally, for me, I'm kind of getting a little sick and tired of it. You know, trying to keep track of reservations, trying to keep track of freaking emails from the reservations. It's just like, why is it that I have to be glued to my phone just to enjoy a day at a Disney park? Why?
Well, that's all I hear from the OG Disney theme park goers. It's like, I don't want to be on the phone the whole time.
Well, that was Disney's mentality. Disney wanted you to stay off your phone. Yeah. Now they want you on your phone. You know, it's I don't know.
See, this is what gets me interested, and this kind of ties back into what we were talking about with the CEO position. Whether it's Josh tomorrow or it's someone new school, could we see more of this type of AI technology, phone usage in the Disney park, which basically would turn out to be less magic, more phone time, and yeah.
Well, I think Disney, they won't drop the reservation system on either coast until they literally are forced to. It gives them, I'm sure they wanted to do that system for so long because it gives them so much data on staffing, on all the data they can get. At least out here, now it's just for annual pass holders, and that's the group of people they can use it on, because if your day-to-day guests are just too complicated for them. But it gives them a ton of advantage. I'm sure they save tons of money on whatever they can do or make it more optimized. But the only way they're going to ever drop it is if basically people reject it and competition forces them to drop it, because people just get tired of doing it. And I think that's the only way it would happen.
Disney admitted to the fact of that this was their plan, that they were going to do 20 plus years down the road. But 2020 came, everything shut down, and they're like, you know what? Let's utilize this opportunity and let's make the 20-year plus deadline a 2-year plus deadline.
Yep. Well, I think I remember getting the phone call during when it was shut down, and our travel agent sponsor, she was like, getting on the phone, she's like, they are going to make some insane changes. And I was like, what? And she was telling me all about it. And that was when you saw all these changes, and it gave them the perfect cover to do it. And, you know, I don't know if they'll ever get rid of it. They might be able to change it to where it's not as cumbersome, but and like what you were talking about too, about giving the fans what they want, the hardcore fans. You see the same thing in movies now when it comes to, like, say, comic book movies. Yeah. They don't cater as much to the people that know the comics and the lore. They gear these things more toward the people that are not really familiar with it. But I've always contended, if you do things, you stay true to the source material. Let's say you're doing a Wolverine movie, and the Wolverine fans are excited about that. That will trickle down to the normie crowd, the soccer mom.
100%.
I think it's the same thing in the theme park. If you sell it on them, like, they're going to be your biggest cheerleaders on these things, and you know, praise it, and that's going to hype it up more. And I've always felt like it's a very short-sighted strategy, just because it's a bigger group of normies, but these smaller people are the people that are invested into you, and if you get them on board, it's a huge advantage for you to be able to do that.
Right. I mean, what's the next virtual queue that I'm not looking forward to is the Haunted Mansion with, you know, Jack Skellington added back into it. I always miss the virtual queue for that. Hopefully, I don't know. I know they did it for the refurbished one last year. I didn't even make it in when it was refurbished. I had to wait until they canned the virtual queue to go. Yeah. So the day I went, it was virtual queue for Ghost or Haunted Mansion. Bro, like, there was people waiting outside along the walls. Like, so I feel like the Opera House, there's people just going to be sitting and waiting as well, even if it's hours down the line.
That is true. It's still going to be crowded, bro. Yeah. That is true, because here's why. Just because you have a virtual queue and you're guaranteed to get in, you think people are going to stop there? No, they want that front row seat.
They want the front.
They're going to plan their butts right there in front of the doors until it opens, because they want that front row. They want front row, dead center, right there. you know.
And then that opening day, you got the cast member saying, the Cavaliers coming, okay, move, go out the way. Then the whole line's going to disperse, and then the first person's not even going to get their spot. And then
So, yeah, it's going to be absolute freaking chaos.
Unless they open up the backstage area, that's going to be the holding for virtual queue, because that way people are forced that they have to wait back there until they're escorted into the building. So it's basically whoever shows up first, you get into the backstage queue area. If you're the first one in there, okay, then you're the first one going in, you know. But I don't know if they're just going to open the doors, because that's going to be a mad flood rush of people.
Absolutely. So I'm going to get to some comments from Wizard, because, you know, Wizard, once he starts, he can't stop. Can't help him.
Shout out Theme Park Wizard, man. What's up?
He says, if someone gets 2,000 points, can they shout choo choo on Main Street? That's
I tell you what, if it's 2,000 points just to say choo choo down Main Street, then you better just be getting 2,000 points at the first, you know, reservation you get. Because if you're adding up 2,000 points and all you get is a choo choo, that's
5,000 points gets you a selfie with Josh D'Amaro, though. So I mean,
I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Wizard said he's going to be the next CEO, so he can make that happen. He can make those changes.
I'll send him my suggestions.
Oh, there you go. Wizard, you heard that. He also said the Resi system was already Resi system was already coming. Flex Pass had Resi in 2019.
Oh, did they really?
I guess so. I didn't know that.
Good memory. Good memory.
They did not. Yeah, they did not. At least in Florida, that I'm aware of.
Yeah, they must have done it out here.
You know, you were talking about the surveys at Universal. They do this in Orlando. It's the same thing. They always have people when you walk in there.
Yes.
And literally, a lot of times we'll do day trips. And the last time I went to Epic, by the time I was home, I had an email waiting asking me what I thought. And they send, like, I'm on that whole thing where it's like ideas. They probably send like at least an email a week of things. And I think Universal does a very good job of doing as best as they can to try and figure out what people want. And I agree. I think Disney would be well off it would help them figure out pain points of just, you know, if the reservation system is this big nuisance and figuring out different ways to do it. Like, I think it would do them well to do that. But I've always felt like Universal does a very good job of trying to, you know, keep their ear to the ground of what people want, what they like, what they don't like.
And it's funny you said that, because I always write them for HHN every year. I kind of write what I liked and what I didn't like, or what I thought they could fix. So I know where you're coming from. I do like that.
Yeah, I ended up getting that survey on the bus back to Cabana Bay after leaving Epic.
Dude, it's so quick. Yeah, it's like it's almost they've got to have some sort of automated system and know when you leave or something. But yeah, it's very quick.
Oh yeah, it's and again, if Disney could, you know, do something like that, it would help. Because again, I think their intentions are good. I just don't think the area they're focusing so hard on is the right area they need to be focusing on.
Well, you got to think like how much bureaucracy is within Disney, how big it is, and how bloated it is. And I mean, I remember I worked in a middle-sized company, and it was insane in that. I can only imagine Disney or Universal and how they are. And that's the biggest challenge you have is that right there of where are you focusing these things on? Yeah. And it's not easy, but I mean, you got to make an effort to do it. Even Universal will do little, my wife got chosen for years ago. They were looking research on like Zelda. And you do a little group say I think they paid like $150 in Universal gift cards to do it. Wow. You had to sign NDAs and stuff like that, but they're always just really trying to figure it out. But I also think that's where Universal's trying to gain market share. And I think what would force Disney to do it is competition. This is why I love competition, because if Universal becomes bigger, Disney is going to have to start getting way more into what their guests want. And that's why I always encourage, like,
as long as guests, and I hate saying this, they start to see a decline in guests.
Right.
So if they see Universal get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they start seeing the decline in the guests, then they're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
But I feel like, unfortunately, when you see Universal doing big things, but people still go to Disney just for the nostalgia, for the namesake, for the history, I really don't think Disney's going to bat an eyelash. It's like, why should we spend money if it's not even, if people are going to show up anyway? So I really think, I mean, obviously they're still going to do stuff to kind of compete with Universal, but I don't think it's going to be anything drastic.
Yeah.
Unless they start to see a decline in visitors.
Well, and Disney's very reactionary. That's you're completely right. That's exactly what would happen. They won't make. They're not really good at seeing the horizon necessarily and preemptively like oh, this is going to be an issue down the road. It's not until it becomes like they hit the pothole in the car and they're like, we need to fix that pothole. It's not like driving down, they see it and they're like, hey, that thing's, that's very much how they operate.
Well, see, again, what I like about what George is saying, but I'm going to add on to it, is Universal, whether they think they're on top with their parks or not, they continue to involve and upgrade and build new things for their parks. They're not like Disney, where they build, let's say, a handful of attractions across multiple resorts, and then they say, okay, well, we're going to take kind of like a 5-year backseat and let things cool out. Universal is like, no. We're going to build something. We're going to build someone. Epic Universe is the absolute perfect example of that. That whole theme park hasn't even been open a month, and they're already expanding.
Yeah.
Some people might say desperation. I say investment.
I say kudos. I'd say I want more people to do that.
Yeah, I think that's them seeing the feedback of looking at the pain points of that park and being like, obviously they're driven by they want to make money. They haven't been able. They want 50,000 people in that park. They are not able to roughly hit around 20 right now. So if you want to make more money, more people in that gate, listen to that, figure out solutions to that. Like, making money is also a motivation for these things and making more money. And I think they're very quick to make updates and changes, which I appreciate. Like they're already, and I'm very curious how quickly they get that new thing done. If it's going to be by the end of the year, and really what that park looks like, and say next year, that's going to be really interesting.
Oh, 100%. See, that's the other thing too. Even with Universal Hollywood, the one thing I've been saying for years, and apparently they did this back in the day, how Disney does the D23 Expo, because they have room on the studio lot with the new campus they built, with newer sound stages they have on the lot. One thing I would like them to do, or at least try to bring back in a way, is have their own version of a D23 Expo for guests to go in and physically see what they're coming up with. You know what I mean? I would like something like that. I think if they did that, at least here on the West Coast, in the Hollywood Park, okay, they have something like that will showcase. Obviously, it's going to showcase more for the Hollywood Park, but it's going to showcase some things for the Florida Park as well. I think that would be a great thing.
The easiest thing they could do that with would be Halloween Horror Nights every year.
Yes.
The announcement of the houses. You get people up there, like, you really go in depth of the presentation. Like, yeah, that would be something that they could do. Almost like an Apple event every year, and you get everybody together, and here's the Halloween Horror Night Expo and all these things. Like, that would be pretty cool.
Well, that's kind of like Midsummer, right?
Yeah. It would be Midsummer, but here's the beneficial aspect of this. It would be on their own property. They would not have to rent out a space for it, which would save them money in the long run, which would be more investment for the park.
Yeah.
It's almost like a win-win situation. They could do it.
It's interesting, though. I think many times it would serve Disney better to get... I kind of liken Disney's in this mode of an Apple event where it's like every year there's a new iPhone announcement, and it's like one little change. And it's like back in the day when Steve Jobs did it, it was like, hey, here's a product you never heard of. And it was like, what in the world? And now it's like Now your phone has AI, and you're like, oh my gosh. Whereas I think now with the D23s, there's so much pressure, like constantly having to have announcements. I think the way Universal does their announcements serves them better because they just basically like Rip Ride Rocket going away. They're like, we're replacing with this. We're not telling you what it is yet, but this is closing down here. And then when they release something, like here's the concept art, but like they kind of go more under promise, over deliver. And I think Disney has gotten in the habit, like they got a bunch of flack for the Blue Sky stuff they did the last few years. And it's like they make these big announcements, they get a lot of press, and then the final product, Epcot Overhaul is a good example. And then what the final product is, you're like, that's it. And I think it would be better for them to get out of that. I don't know if they can at this point. I don't know if the fan base would react, how they react to it, but I think they would operate maybe better without having this pressure of like, we have to announce these big things and make a big spectacle of it. And if you don't have every intention of following through 100% on all the things that you do announce.
And see, that's one thing I like about Universal, at least out here in Hollywood. They have the mentality, we're going to build something and we're not going to tell you what it is until
it's ready almost.
Until it starts showing detail where it's like almost screaming at you, yeah, this is what it is. Then they come out.
And then that gets everybody on the speculation hype. And then you see all the YouTube videos, the Instagram. Now Universal is kind of bubbling, you know.
I was going to say that. Look at Rip Ride Rocket. Everyone's speculating, is this going to be Ghostbusters? This is going to be Fast and Furious. And it's almost like a movie. It's like you get all this speculation, which is a good sign of an active fan base.
Right.
And I think Disney misses that, whereas Universal benefits from it. They get a bunch of free press. People are excited about it. And, you know, if it's not, I think it very well could be a Ghostbusters roller coaster. But if it's not, I'm not going to be like mad about it. But speculation's fun. Like that's the fun thing about when you're into comic books, like talking about Superman movie. Are they going to do this version? They could take this from this comic. And then all the things that could be. It's just fun for a fan base to do that. And I think Universal plays into that very well with the way in which they sort of reveal their stuff.
George, any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I feel like we're in a time and age where, especially like with social media, where people are on top of things with like speculations, and you know, you get like, you know, hearsay, and it's like playing the game of telephone where you start off with one person and it goes down the line and it's something completely different, and then you're kind of, you know, thinking, oh well, which person was right with this? So it's like that thing, but on a bigger scale because you're using social media and technology to do so. So with these theme parks that are wrapped around in that notion, I love how you guys were saying, like with Universal, it's like if they're going to close something, they give a closing date and say, hey, you're going to get something. As Jarrett was saying, they don't say what it is, but they already know what it is. And it's like, okay, when we're ready to let you know, you'll know. Where Disney is like, they hold this big convention, which is great. I've been to every single D23 and I absolutely love it. It's a diehard Disney's wet dream, you know, to go to the convention center and be amongst other, you know, diehard Disney fans. But I feel like for me, they should start putting things into place sooner prior to the event. For instance, you want to start closing stuff down or do expansions, do it. Put up the walls and say, hey, we're creating new magic or something. It gets us wondering and saying, something's going beyond this wall, but they're not telling us. But the fact that they have those walls up is saying, okay, it's in circulatory, it's moving. And then by the time you get to D23, boom, then you make the announcement saying, here's the big reveal of why these walls are up in the first place.
And then it starts quick too. You're not waiting almost a year later before, you know, when Josh DeMaro says there's dirt, or what did he say, shovels in the dirt. I'm like, is there?
Anticipation, that's what ruins is anticipating it, and it never shows up.
And another thing they could do, like George was saying, with the construction walls, putting them up, you know, doing light construction, light demo, nothing crazy until the announcement starts, or maybe they do, but on the construction fence without putting any details, you can easily put signage up, posters up saying, hey, we are going to be making a big announcement at D23. Stay tuned. And that's
like Easter eggs and like little teasers of what it could be for people to, like, you know, like kind of piece it together.
Yeah, so it's like a cross promotion where it's getting people interested. It's telling people like the Magic Key holders and pass holders, hey, your investment into our theme parks is not going to waste. We're using it. We're improving our park. Not only that, but like George says, the diehard Disney fans, it entices new people to say, you know what, maybe I will go to D23 this year. Maybe I do want to check it out. So it's like a cross promotion they can do. And it's not, it's not hard. They can easily do it. It's just getting them to do it.
And as far as too, like of how, giving like hints or like little surprises of like what, something on the horizon could be. Disney already kind of tapped into that with the Disney Destiny cruise ship. A lot of content creators, influencers, they were receiving these gift boxes for the Disney Destiny, and they were giving these little patches or pins or what have you, and it showcased what was going to be incorporated on the cruise ship without actually saying what it was. So people were speculating to say, oh, there's a pin of Pain and Panic. Well, yeah. And then it shows kind of like, but it wasn't like the normal Pain and Panic. It was like the theater faces, sure. Like how you have like the theater face, like with the mask that's on the stick. I forget what they're called. But they showcase that, and it makes you think, oh, you put two and two together. Pain and Panic, Hercules, theater, Broadway style show. The new Broadway show that's going to be on the Disney Destiny is Hercules. So it was like play on the kind of stuff. So if they did stuff like that, just with the parks in general, sure. that would be really cool.
Oh, definitely. So we have a couple comments I want to get to because I don't want to ignore anybody. I don't ride like that. Main Street Paul says, come on, Disneyland, get rid of the reservations. I 100% agree with you.
And at Disney World too. Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes. Quicker rather than later.
Do you guys have good to go days out there?
George, you would know that.
No.
No, I don't.
Okay, because we do down here. They'll have like where you don't have to have a reservation, but it's like select dates.
Yeah, no. California doesn't have.
No,
and honestly, even Walt Disney World, correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, like even just like with regular park tickets, you don't have to make a park reservation, correct?
Not anymore. You used to. That was a big pain point of people were you'd buy your tickets, but then you just still had to make your reservations, and then they had people showing up that bought tickets that couldn't use them. So now it's just annual pass holders that have to deal with the park reservations.
Wow. How annoying. Still.
Yeah. At least the good to go days are at least there on some of the days where you can just don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely. So, good friend of the channel, Haunters United, Mr. Scary Dre on X says, kind of similar to how Knott's does the Nightmare Unveil for Scary Farm. He's talking about when they, do a show,
a
presentation about what's coming to Scary Farm. Again, I think of Universal, at least out here in Hollywood, since they have so many sound stages, they can easily use that sit vacant from time to time. They can easily set up an expo in one of them.
Right. Hey, shout out Andre, Scary Dre. I'm going to catch you this Halloween season for sure. Man, me and Conductor are for sure going to do a Not Scary Farm live stream and talk about all the houses because they're going to announce the 2 houses coming up on that event that you had mentioned. So we'll definitely be covering that just to let all the Knott's fans and everybody know that's still coming.
Definitely. And then we got a Big Samus. God, I love that name. We got Cold Balls with No Coco and Walt Disney World after Beyond Big Thunder concept. So
that was my nickname in high school.
What?
Big Samus, not Cold Balls.
Oh, good Lord.
Hi, I'm George Cold Balls Italiano. You're like, that's better than Hot Balls? I don't know which one's worse.
Hot Balls. Or should I say sweaty balls?
Sweaty. Yeah.
Sweaty balls.
Sweaty.
That's definitely, if you're in Florida, you definitely have that most of the time.
Yeah, you do. Oh my god.
But in all seriousness, Big Samus actually is correct, because I would have thought, because that was, I think, more realistic, that they could have put something like Coco beyond Big Thunder. It didn't have to be like the boat ride that's coming out the DCA, but maybe give us something that would kind of like tie in that you're like leaving like the frontier and then you're going to like this little old Mexican village kind of thing. I personally love the original concept when it was Coco, Encanto, and villains.
Yeah.
I actually like that. But now the fact that Encanto is going over to Animal Kingdom, and the concept, they kind of gave a little bit of light on how it would fit in, and it fits in with Tropical Americas, I'm cool with that. But taking Encanto out, I would have been fine with just Coco and villains.
Definitely. But, you know, again, it's not the Coco. It's not something where Disney has to worry in a way where to build it and how to build it. Like, again, it's not going to be a Joe Rohde / James Cameron project. So they don't have to be looking over their shoulder every other minute on what decisions they make. So they can just do whatever with it, quite frankly, which is sad, but it's reality. Haunter said, we need the Metro sets back for HHN. It's too congested now. The Metro sets gave us the freedom to roam around more. So, Jared, I don't know the last time you were out here and you went to Universal. I'm sure it's been forever.
I've actually never been to Universal Hollywood or Disneyland. So I'm you can boo me.
You're scaring me. You're scaring me. You're really scaring me. Okay,
I mean, it's far, bro, from coast to coast. It's pretty deep.
I know.
I've been to California. I've been to, what did I go? I've been to California like 3 or 4 times though. What did I go to out there? Was it SeaWorld? I've been to one of the parks out there, but never made. Yeah, we're doing it sometimes. I told OG and George when we go out there, we'll do a big meetup or something and go do some stuff. Because my wife has done. She's been to Disneyland a ton. Her mom grew up in Vegas, so she grew up at Disneyland and things like that. So I haven't experienced it yet, but I shall one day.
Oh man, you are gonna have a blast.
I want to go to Escalator Land.
Oh, you're gonna be ready for that. You're gonna be ready for that. Oh my god. Hey, maybe that's a T-shirt you can make for your clothing line. I'm going
Escalator
to
Land.
Escalator Land.
You know what that reminds me of? Do you remember? You know what that reminds me of is the episode of South Park, the Cow Days, where the boys are waiting in line and it's like taking forever, and then they get to the X and they said, "Well, we hope you enjoyed the ride."
Oh yeah,
you were on the line ride, and they took a picture of them.
Oh, I love South Park.
Oh,
I was making a joke the other day about I guess you'll see the episode of what was it, Mr. Captain Hindsight, where he shows up after the fact and just tells you what went wrong and then flies away. Like, thanks, Captain Hindsight.
Definitely. The last topic we're going to talk about, and this is only going to be a couple minutes long, is the brand new HHN announcement for both coasts, Terrifier. Jared, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, start with him because this is one of his favorite franchises.
Oh, I love it so much.
Okay, go for it.
So I'm a weird one here in that I hate horror movies. I love Halloween Horror Nights, though.
Yeah.
I think OG's the same way. Like, they're not my thing. I've seen clips of Terrifier. I'm good. I don't need that in my life. It's like the clip I saw, I'm not going to describe it, but like good. Like, I don't know the human that thought of that, but it sounds like it'll be a scary house nonetheless. I'm not going to I'm not going to watch all 3 movies, but I will go through the house. But I know this has been rumored for years, so I know people want it. And it's got like, in terms of low budget movie, caught on. Obviously, it's like in the horror genre. They're profitable, so like, you know, I'm all for giving people what they want. I just won't know anything going into this house other than what I already know. But
oh, you're screwed, bro. You're screwed. This is gonna be one of the roughest houses if they knock it out.
Dude, the language they use, it said you're gonna be dripping with fear. I'm like, dripping with fear. Like, this is some of the language they're using is very descriptive. I'm like, okay,
well, it's bad, man. Art the Clown, he likes to point and watch you and laugh at you when
Yes.
this misery is occurring to you.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some scenes where he's probably annihilating someone and he's just pointing or laughing at you. And that's the scariest stuff for me.
Or do you know what?
Yeah.
Like where you end up getting a jump scare from something, and then on top of that jump scare, he pops out of nowhere and points and laughs.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck, bro. Oh, shit. Sorry. Yeah, that's going to be crazy, bro. Like, I'm scared.
Okay.
I'm scared for this one.
Oh, I'm ready. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? One of my live streams I did, I think it was last week or the week prior. Someone in the comments posted, you know, because Universal, you know, obviously they can't use real blood. I know George wants real blood. I'm like, you know what? Since we have Terrifier, just give me real blood. I don't care.
Yeah, they already got that far. I mean, hell, like I'll sign a disclosure or whatever.
Oh hell yeah, just throw it on me. Come on.
Are you gonna have to wear? Somebody was saying you may want to wear a poncho in this house.
Yikes!
I hope not. I hope not.
You a bunch of us just like walking in with a bunch of ponchos.
Walking out to it. Although the other house, I don't know if you guys are getting it out in Hollywood, but they've got that grave of the flesh, which is essentially like you're going to hell. I've just argued people are just going to come out of the house being like, I need to change my life. I came out of this house a different man.
This is going to be really bad, but I don't care. I'm the Italiano. I say what's on my mind. If they had to make a house where we had to walk in with ponchos and we walk out completely drenched in blood, they should just call the house It's That Time of Month.
Oh man. George, where you come up with this? Man. Talk about
I do love Halloween Horror Nights because you see, like I remember 2 years ago I went and I was coming out of a house and I don't know if you guys ever heard of cane shoes, but they're like Crocs, but they look like athletic shoes. I love them. I wear them all the time. So I'm coming out and this guy goes, "Oh, where'd you get those shoes?" And I'm like, "Oh," I look up and this guy, they're wearing like a bunch of leather and stuff. He's got a leash on his girlfriend. And I was like, well, I don't see this all the time. I'm like, oh, I told them where I got it, and they walked away. And I was like, they're really nice, but I was like, you don't see that every day in a theme park of a guy having a girlfriend on a leash coming out of a haunted house. Like it's got its own vibe. It's interesting.
It's very unique.
It makes me wonder if that was because like if it's like a her like knee-jerk reaction, like if she just like starts running rampantly and she doesn't know that she's running, so he has to like have her like on a kind of like a leash to kind of guide her through, like.
Yeah, I didn't really want details. I was like, oh, but I don't want to know. Yeah, it's like social media. Like when I see some posts, I'm just like, you know what, I'm fine. Like, their lore is with them. I have no idea.
Well, it's gonna be a great house. I'm super excited for it. Hunters said it would be cool if David Howard Thornton, who plays Art, actually dressed up and scared people in the house.
Okay, so I got something with that. So 100% he won't be there for Halloween because he's at an expo in Florida on the 31st. But I have a feeling on the first day, because these people visit their houses on the first day. I mean, the weekend was in Brazil last year, so he didn't come the first weekend or the first day or something. But, bro, like, there's potential for him being Art the Clown or him at least greeting you or being around the area. So, Andre, I think you're onto something.
And I do want to add something before we end tonight. Is me and Tommy last year, the first weekend, because we do the first weekend. This is our routine now. I got him into it. He thought I was a nutcase when we first did it, but now we do
but
it.
Bro, I wasn't with you on the RIP night. I kept saying I forgot it because so you had a different experience.
Yeah, well, that was
what date is your RIP?
The first day.
This time, the 4th at 6 p.m.
The 4th.
6 p.m. Yeah. So normally how me and Tommy do it is the first night RIP, second night general admission with early entry, third night Express Unlimited, early entry. So that's how our game plan is. But the point I'm trying to get at is when we were walking to Texas, Chainsaw Massacre, and we were getting ready to go into the queue space. David was hanging out in that area, talking to execs, saying hi to guests, just being friendly and just hanging out. Tommy shrugs me because I have no idea who the guy is. He tells me, "Oh my God, that's Art the Clown." Oh my God. I'm like, Art the Clown? Who the hell is that? And then he told me, "Oh, Terrifier." Oh, okay. So it's funny to me because at least out here in Hollywood, it seems like it's a revolving pattern, whether the actor from these movies that they use the IP for these houses are actually on location during the event for what seems to be future events of their movie being incorporated into HHN. So there's always a reference. Whether
like
it's
last year, all the Fallout actors were at HHN, so everybody's like, "Oh man, Fallout's coming next year."
And look we're getting Fallout.
Right.
I think that house will be pretty cool. I'm curious about that one and like Five Nights at Freddy, what they do.
Oh, dude, I want Five Nights so bad. Dude, I'm telling you right now, I could tell you the merch is going to go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I think they have potential. I think the house is going to be based on the first movie, since they said it's not the video game. But then December, we're getting the second movie, which is like, the Freddy Plex or the different vibe with the different characters. So maybe next year we'll get that. And then we got Terrifier 2. That's what the main house is going to be based on. It's weird. On the main article, the official article and the release for Terrifier, it basically says Terrifier 2, but I heard through the grapevine it's 1, 2, and 3. I'm hoping it's just 2 so we could get 3 next year.
Absolutely. But gentlemen, it was an absolute great time with you guys. We went 2 hours and 12 minutes. George, I know you're going to go see Superman in a little bit. I wish you all the best of luck. Please wear your red cape and show him some support. I'm sure you have a red cape somewhere in your house.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely. It's like hanging up in my closet.
Oh, perfect. Even better. But
which I will be doing an out of theater reaction. It will be filmed tonight, right out of the theater, of my overall thoughts on Superman. It'll be uploaded on Citrico Central, and then also too, we will be doing at some point Story Geeks with Jay Shearer to talk about Superman as well, which that was one of the main reasons why I'm going to see it tonight, because I want to be part of that conversation. So just because like I'm an attention whore and I don't like to be left out.
Gotta get that attention. I'm probably gonna go see it again just because I can be like, when we talk about it, I want to have more details. But I'm curious what you think. I actually curious if my opinion is. I think I'm in the minority if I were to guess. But
actually, I've been hearing both, bro. I've been hearing where you're coming from. Yeah, like diehards are kind of like on your side.
I can see the like if you read the comics, like it's not. I think the normie crowd that doesn't know it as well.
But can you admit this is the closest to the cartoon though that we've ever gotten?
Yeah, I would say closer to the cartoon. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, the thing I did like about it was very comic booky. Like you had huge monsters. You got a floating eye thing. The Green Lantern part in it, he's pretty good. Mr. Terrific is fantastic in the movie. He's kind of the best character in the movie.
I killed it.
Yeah,
but George, always great having you on the live stream. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And you could also find me on my new YouTube channel, Citrico Central, sister channel to Orange Grove 55.
Absolutely. Thank you, George, for being on tonight's Conductor Sunday live stream. Tommy Toon World, my co-host in a way, because you're on this channel quite often, like George. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Conductor. It was fun hanging out with all you guys. Jared, bro, it's nice to meet you, man.
You as well.
Yeah, for sure. You can find me at Tommy Toon World on YouTube if you want to check out food reviews, theme parks in Vegas. And then on my Instagram, more up-to-date, day-to-day stuff at Tommy2_.
Absolutely. And again, Tommy, thank you for joining the Conductor Sunday live stream. And the one and only Jared, thank you for being on the show. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Thank you again for having me on. It's always a good time. Always enjoy talking what theme parks and random things that come up. So it's always fun. You can find me at Captain Magic, YouTube, everywhere. We also have a podcast at CTM Podcast. If you want more like in-park tips, Universal and Disney, my wife and I run that one. But that's where you can find me. I got daily videos, and then I'm going to start doing more live streams. We have Theme Parking, which Theme Park Conductor comes on every once in a while there, and George and OG are on there about every 2 weeks. So I'll probably start doing more live streams. I kind of forget sometimes to do it, but I'm getting better at this whole YouTube thing at some point. Maybe I'll figure it out one day, but that's where you can find me.
We're one big happy family. So one day
it's fun. It's a lot of fun whenever, like, even if you have different opinions, everyone can come together and just be like, oh, okay. You know, like you can understand where they're coming from, and it's just fun to discuss this stuff.
And I always say that too, like whether I say it on Orange Grove 55, on Conductors, my own channel, or even on Theme Parking with you, Jared. I always say I'm always open to, hearing other people's opinions and having that discussion.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, you could have your own opinion, but just always know you're going to be wrong. So
I'm supposed to say that. That's what my wife says I say. She tells me I say things to, like, when I'm giving my opinions, that I say it as a matter of fact. I'm like, well, yeah, like, right. That's how it is. And then she's like, you're not supposed to, you don't need to do. I'm like, well, we'll see. Maybe I'll get better at stating my opinions as not a matter of fact, but I don't know.
Oh, good Lord. Everyone, thank you for joining tonight's live stream. Thank you to the amazing people in the chat. Thank you to the Theme Park Conductor community. And programming note, I will be with George, the Disney Italiano from Citrico Central, Orange Go 55, Theme Park Wizard, and so many others to debut the chaos, what is going to be chaos at Disneyland in the vicinity of the Opera House. And
watch, we're going there for the opening day for the Walt animatronic. We're not even going to get into the virtual queue. It's just going to be us, a Stagler small group of vloggers just standing outside the Opera House, just like staring at the sign.
And I'm going to promise everyone in the chat watching this live stream, you heard it first. I'm going to keep George away from an Italian food stand in Disneyland, because I'm sure there's some, so he can grab a giant size hot dog and start hitting people with a hot dog. Okay, I'm going to make that very clear. He's going to behave himself, or at least I'm going to try to make him behave.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Yeah.
I said I was trying. I didn't say I was going to be successful.
Give it the good old try.
Exactly, because Josh tomorrow better wear a helmet if things go ape nuts. So.
Yeah, it's like you could keep the hot dogs away from me, but in my back pocket I have like one of those long pepperoni nightsticks.
They can't confiscate that when you come in.
Well, the security guards won't confiscate it. It would be the security dogs, because they would smell George's ass and say, something smells good. Good Lord. But have a good night, everybody. See you soon.
See you guys. Thank you.